how do you define the word influence? What is influence to you?
That's a really hard question to answer. I only started this journey, obviously, in doing what I'm doing because my wife has worked in community service for about 35 years, in public service and not for profit. And she worked with the NDIA when it first opened in 2013. And she was there for a couple of years. I was a public servant, so I did some team leadership and things like that, and accounts work in the public service. So I saw what she was doing, and then we sort of had that thought of, oh, let's just do business together. She's not happy where I am, so she's not happy where she is. I'm not happy where I am. let's go in the business together and see how we go.
Welcome to the Find Your Influence podcast with Anton, where we unpack all things influence and we help leaders particularly find their influence by talking to amazing humans and finding out what influence means to them, who they've been influenced by, and who they have influenced. And this podcast episode, proudly sponsored by the Guinea Group of companies. The Guinea Group helps leaders upgrade, upskill, uplift their teams and their influence. Now, team, welcome to the Find Your Influence podcast with Anton, where we have the bestest, the most funnest, and the nicest today. I'm telling you, Greg has been so humble, so gentlemanly and so calm, and I haven't. Deb has, but I had just say I've done an all-nighter, Greg, so this is like about 36 hours for me, so sleep, but not that that's an excuse because you got to be able to keep your shit together. Greg Hart, social entrepreneur and business leader, founder of Your Heart to Heart, which might have come from Greg's surname. Co-founder of Soulful AI. I love that. Soulful AI. Co-author of Business is War, which is actually a global bestseller on Amazon. And if you haven't got that book, Business is War, get on Amazon and get a team. There's 3 Business of War books, and Greg was a co-author of one of those. At the helm of Your Heart to Heart, Greg's focus as director is on delivering global award-winning family support services to Greg's community and clients, I guess you would call them, Greg. Leveraging over 9 years of dedication to the well-being of others with dual roles. Are you a counsellor too?
Yeah. I'm accredited counsellor. I don't do a lot of that, but I've still got my accreditation.
But the things we don't know about each other, Greg.
Yep.
And dual roles in counselling and business ownership at Your Heart to Heart. Greg's experience encompasses comprehensive support for individuals with disabilities, including personalised counselling, other therapeutic and coordination of essential services, all underpinned by a strong foundation in financial analysis. And Greg is an accomplished public speaker. Please welcome Greg Hart.
Good to be on your show.
Oh, mate, you are such a nice guy, Greg. I cannot believe how respectful you've been tonight. You know, it's 10:30 where you are. Here we are now. I was duffing around. We had to call a tech guy to come in an emergency. Just massive kudos, mate. Massive kudos. So if that's the way you show up for your clients, mate, they're very lucky to have you. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
So, mate, we're going to talk influence today, but before we do that, anything missing from the bio? I always ask people that. What else do we need to know about you?
Well, I suppose all the awards I've won is bit of a mind-blowing. It's been really, it's sort of, I can't resonate with the sometimes of what we've done, award-winning stuff in Australia, a lot of it overseas. So
you've got a globally recognized disability support business. Let's put it in those terms.
Yes,
mate.
Yeah,
and it's mind blowing. I love the fact that you can say that you're in awe of what your business has achieved. That's what mind blowing is. It's like this whole wonder, amazement, and I think that's pretty special, man, for you to have achieved something, to have grown something, to created something that is even inspires you.
Yeah. I can only imagine before starting this business that it would be multi-global winning. It's not something I would have picked before the start, then get to now, which you're pretty much almost the 10th year in.
10th year in. For all our viewers and listeners, just give Greg a clap, please, team, while you're sitting in your car. Actually, if you're driving, don't do that. But that's amazing. That is really, really, it's the highest honor you can get in business. Business awards are a recognition of contribution. They're a little bit like, financial rewards. Yes, we make some money in business, and that's recognition. But when you're recognized by a group of judges, peers, other business owners for what you've contributed to the business community, especially at a global level, just for all our listeners out there who may not really understand just how powerful that is and why Greg's so in awe and so proud of that achievement. That's a big deal. And, these awards are only given out once a year. Yes, there's a few different types of business awards, but to get it, mate, give yourself a rap. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a bit of a whirlwind trip because obviously I'm not in the same time zone you at the moment, but even just what's happened since I flew out, I think it was the 10th of November to now, and what's happened is just, a lot's happened in that time I've been away.
So, did you speak on stage at Mega Success? So were you a Mega Success speaker this year?
Yeah, I interviewed Kris Jenner.
That's right, mate. Look, for all our listeners out there, let's unpack this. So Greg's sort of a celebrity team, just so that everyone knows. You don't get to interview someone like Kris Jenner, who, for anyone that doesn't, actually, Greg, why don't you give everyone, all of our listeners and viewers, just a bit of a taste of what it's like to be a celeb, which you are, and to brush shoulders with celebs, and tell it, what was Kris like? Who's Kris first? What was Kris like? And what's that like, getting that experience?
Backstage, before I was interviewing Kris Jenner, I didn't even know who Kris Jenner was. And I had to ask backstage, who's Kris Jenner? And they told me, and I Googled and oh, Kris Jenner, very, very, very impressive woman. Obviously she's the mother of Chloe and Kim Kardashian's, amongst other children she has. And I looked at her backstage and like, oh, she's a very impressive woman. What she built, and at least bought for her daughters to come into play, to do what they've done. That mentoring was incredible.
And I was lucky enough to be in the audience, and I heard your interview, and I heard just how strong of a leader Kris is. And, like, Kris runs all the businesses for all the family, for all the girls. And she really is a strong, just, you can tell what she says goes. You know what I mean? Did you get that feeling too?
She had a very strong presence. Absolutely.
Very. And do you feel that on stage when you're rubbing shoulders with these amazing humans? Do you get that vibe that, right, here's someone with presence?
Compared to, I've interviewed Kevin Costner and Vince Vaughn in the past, and it was a very different vibe interviewing Kris Jenner. Kris Jenner was very, you knew that you had someone that was very, very successful. I'm not saying Vince and Kevin not, they're totally successful, but in a business mindset, you can tell straight away. Yeah, and obviously, you think in reality TV, but obviously Vince and Kevin done a lot of acting.
Gotcha. So the acting pieces are very different, because Kris did speak very clearly about business decisions. Everything's a business decision.
Correct.
You're right. Whereas you probably didn't have that experience with Kevin Costner and Vince.
No.
That acting probably came through in their experience. Yeah.
Kevin and Vince, for me, showed me who they were. In that sense, that warmth that I got from both of them, where Kris was very business-like.
Yeah, that's well said. Well said. I haven't seen your interview with Kevin Costner and Vince Vaughn, but I get how that would be the case, because I understand Kris was just business. Even though, pleasant, nice, happy, but just business.
Just very business-like. Yep. I could tell she cares for her family.
Wasn't it? It was family first. It was Kris Jenner first, and it felt like she put a real cocoon around her family, and was just, they have a team meeting every morning. The girls come. Sorry,
she's mother hen.
that's right. Exactly.
I'm going to protect the hive at all costs.
I love it. And they have a team meeting every morning, and one of the girls drops the kids off to school, and the other one's there early. One likes sleeping in, and that's okay as long as they're there for the team meeting, so we can plan the day. And yeah, that you did well. That was a cool interview. Well done. Congrats.
Thank you.
And who else have you interviewed? Just for our listeners, our viewers, who's the most? Well, I suppose they're probably the three most famous. Who else have you got a photo with?
I've had photos of Elizabeth Hurley, Wayne Gretzky, who's the goat of the NHL. Um, I've had we said Elizabeth Hurley. Who else we had? Michael Richards, obviously Kramer, from Seinfeld. Um, who, and
Charlie Sheen.
so Pete, Charles Pink, a funny guy,
Charlie Sheen was funny.
very funny. Trying to think, there's quite a few of them. I'm going to think. If
There was Reed Colnager, who's his book Down to the Wire. He's a really successful entrepreneur. You know, there were some billionaires over there, obviously at Mega Success, and obviously John Paul DeJoria, and some other big names. So yeah, it sounds like you had quite a good time. It sounds like you're really mixing with in those circles, Greg. That must be a cool experience, eh? Traveling the world, mixing labels.
It's I think if I could pitch myself, I still wouldn't resonate in that sense. It's just I don't think you could even imagine that you're rubbing shoulders with such successful people. Even you are, you still feel like, wow, that happened.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Like you say, you got to pinch yourself. So cool, man. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
And that's what happens when you put 10 years of dedicated hard work into, where you want to be. You have business awards, and then of course the fame and the fortune a little bit sort of follow, and all of a sudden you become this sort of a celebrity business owner, which I think is really special because we know about celebrity branding and we know how important that is for your brand, right? So let's take a step back and let's go back from celebrity branding to back before you were sort of a famous business owner, and let's talk influence. Was there, and maybe it was family. Most people say family. Was it? Who were the people in your life, or maybe they were professional? Who saw more in you that you didn't see in yourself, that influenced you to be who you are now?
My wife, only my wife,
No way.
only my wife. She's the only one that would, in that circle. She's the only one that sort of believed in me in that sense. And obviously my grandparents did, but it was very hard for them to be directly about it. But JT's a Fox to see me, and I don't know how he sees things in me that I don't see myself too. So,
And for all our listeners and viewers, JT Fox is the world's #1 business and wealth coach. He's Greg's coach. He's my coach, and he's a phenomenal human, and obviously, he's another celeb that you get to be around and spend quality time with. So first up, Greg, let's unpack influence, because I always ask my guests, how do you define the word influence? What is influence to you?
that's a really hard question to answer. Now, you influence. Well, I only started this journey, obviously, in doing what I'm doing because my wife has worked in community service for about 35 years. In public service and not for profit. And she worked for the NDI when it first opened in 2013. And she was there for a couple of years. I was a public servant, so I did team leadership and things like that, and accounts work in the public service. So I saw what she was doing, and then we sort of had that thought of, oh, let's just do business together. She's not happy where I am, so obviously not happy where she is. I'm not happy where I am. Let's join the business together and see how we go.
So you sort of influenced each other to a degree. So you've sort of pushed each other in the right direction, so that you sort of got aligned. And your wife obviously is your wife a business partner, Greg? Like, is she still in the business?
She is.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you and your wife will, shoulder to shoulder through this business journey. That must be a pretty cool experience, huh?
Yeah, it's for real. And obviously the love of your life, you doing something incredible together. and obviously trying to change lives along the way. So it is a good feeling.
Good on you, Greg. Good on you. And why do you say that your wife was the biggest influence? So let's say the definition that we use, Greg, is influence is the ability to have an effect on the BCD, on the behavior, the character, or the development of another human. You know, to be able to have a positive effect, behavior, character, or development of a human, or the definition says of a person or a thing, which maybe might be a project or a business even, you know, maybe we can influence business growth. But you do that through people anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So how, you know, what is it that your wife does to have that positive effect on you? Does your wife talk you up? You know, like what is it?
My wife's just got a presence about it. I don't think you can really describe it unless you know her. She's got like sort of that energy of like trying to lift you up in that sense. She's a very encouraging type person. When she has like moments, I suppose you could say.
So encouraging. What I heard then, Greg, too, was what's your wife's name, please, mate?
Her name's Kerry.
Kerry. So when Kerry's around, Kerry lifts you up just by showing up, just by being energetic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. It's not a relationship I've ever had to have that energy that pull you up in that sense.
Isn't that great? One of the 3 elements of influence that we believe is important as we put 100 podcast conversations together in some sort of a model and framework. Energize yourself so that your energy is contagious. You've got to start that. If you want to influence another human, you've got to be up. You've got to be able to get yourself up.
Correct. The vibration's got to be higher than your clients. Not too high, because at the end of the day, if you're too high, then the client can't keep up with you. But if you're like a little bit like that, for example, then you're adaptable.
Oh, I love it. And that's the challenge with extroverts, Greg. And I'm going to say you're an extrovert. You've got to be so super aware of what the right energy level is.
Actually, I'm not really an extrovert now.
Right.
I think you call an ambivert or omnivert.
Ambi. So you're in the middle. You can go either way now.
I'm the middle. So if I sort of like meet someone for the first time, I'm not extroverted at all. Don't have that energy. I sort of want to sort of get to know them or I see them first. I can't just approach someone and say hello. I just don't have that in me. I used to, but I don't these days. So when I get to know someone, then I come across a little bit more extroverted. If I don't know someone, I'm probably more introverted.
So what changed, Greg? Because I'm going to say, like you show up, you present as someone that's quite extroverted, and I've seen you, you know, in forums like on stages. What changed? Was there a day when it maybe changed? Well, was this a gradual progression back into like, you know what? I'm going to stand back. I don't need to be so energetic.
I think it's about protecting your energy. Before business, I was a high extrovert, and I was like out there all the time. And I think in business, you learn a lot from people. You and I suppose we hear this with JT's network, the trust but verified. And I think sitting back and watching people, how they interact and how they turn up and things like that, you sort of know whether you can approach them in a sort of like a part of an extrovert way, or stay back and be more like introvert.
Greg, that is so beautifully put. You know, what you said then is you've got this real strategy now. And I love where you said protect your energy.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, because business is go, and we've got to be up all the time. We don't have the option to be down. You know, we've got to be sort of on, and especially making field you're in, you got to be on because you got clients that line. But what you said then was something really, really intriguing, because you said you've got this strategy and coaching has helped you understand that if you're too energetic, you won't see the real person. You won't see what you need to see to know whether they're trustworthy or not. Greg Hart, that is deep shit. That's so cool. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Don't worry. All good. All good. That was just powerful. No, that's really interesting, mate. Thanks for sharing that. I never thought about it. Right. And you're right. The introverts do step back a little bit and survey.
And I've seen, like, although we always say names on this podcast and that, but we're both big Kerry. So not encouraged, but we've seen people in the network that we know, introverts, they do bring in good energy, but when they're done their thing, they're like that. You don't talk.
That's right. It's so, and a lot of people don't understand that, Greg. Introversion and extroversion, developed by the psychologist Carl Jung, it's where you get your energy from. You know, like I'm so lucky that, you know, I did an all-nighter last night, but the fact that you're here, like I feel like I've just jumped out of bed. Like as soon as there's humans, I'm good to go. Whereas when I'm on my own, I crash. So I get my energy from being with humans.
Yep.
Extrovert.
So would you say you're an extrovert?
I think I'm an extrovert, Greg. Just
Extrovert. Yeah.
so and self-confessed.
Yep.
But you know, I think people like yourself who are really aware of your energy state and where you comes from, you know that you don't get energized by people as much anymore, and you stand back and you sort of read people and you get energized with some thinking time, with some quiet time, and some processing time.
Mm. But if I'm around good people, for example, I can just keep seeing them and seeing them, like consistently. So I've got that part too. But obviously, like you mentioned earlier, you do need to shut the door sometimes and have like a bit of a break.
Absolutely. Even the extroverts need to sleep and recharge, mate. That's for sure. I love it.
Absolutely.
Well said. Beautiful. So this lovely, amazing human came into your life many years ago, Kerry. You went into business. Were you life partners before you were business partners?
No, we weren't in business at all. I think we met. I think we knew each. Well, like 6 years that we knew each other before we started business.
Right. But you weren't life partners at that stage?
When business started, or
so you're married to Kerry, yeah? That's your wife?
yes,
Right.
yes.
Were you married before you went into business?
I was married before business. Yes.
Right. Okay. Cool. Has it ever put a strain on your relationship?
It has caused some tension. There has been tension. But I suppose when you're living in someone's pocket in that sense of being business and a marriage and that sort of being, it does cause tension. So you can't sort of like not have tension, because at times something might not go right in business and you're at each other's throats. So I think it's just normal. If you're in a marriage and you do business, you're gonna have tension.
I love it. And it's how you handle the tension, I think, is the real important thing. And I always say, and not that my wife and I fight very often, but you got to fight fair. You know, just don't be a rat bag. Just fight fair.
Yep. Sometimes you've got to bite your tongue. Sometimes you've got to bite your tongue.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You sometimes the bit of your brain where you process language, Wernicke's area, versus where you put it into words, Broca's area. The bit in between I always call as the filter. Some people need to engage it, Craig.
Exactly.
For all our listeners out there, I just had a toy brain there, and for all our viewers, you just seen where parts of the brain are. I just love that model. So actually, let me ask you this, Greg. That tension, was it financial or was it more directional? You know, like was it vision related or dollars related?
Both.
What's worse?
I think financial. I think financial is definitely worse, because a lot of times in business you go on as well, and then you have that bit of a plateau, and then you go off again, and you got the pill and whatever. You definitely have your moments.
I get it. Thanks for sharing, man. Yeah, been there, done that.
Yep.
So, no, I thought you might say that. Toughest time in your relationship is also the toughest time in your business, sadly, because it's so tied to dollars.
That's right. Because I imagine a lot of marriages out there, they're in financial trouble. Most of them, I don't think, will survive.
Well said. Beautifully put. You know, I think financially stressed relationships, you know, can be, like you say, doomed to failure unless there's, you know, there's so much love and there's so much support and there's so much care for each other that you're willing to do what it takes. But you know, I've seen people tap out due to a bankruptcy or due to, you know, financial challenges. I've had friends that have done it, and I feel from, but I get it. I understand, Greg. You know, my wife, when we were in our toughest times, pointed the finger and said, "Hey, this is your fault. This is on you."
Yep.
And that's tough.
Yep. It is. It is. Yep. It's not easy at all.
Mate, in saying that, so that's who influenced you. Who are you most proud of? Like, who have you influenced? Have you been that strong guide for someone else in your business or even a client, mate? Who are you most proud of? Who have you influenced?
I don't think I can name someone, to be honest with you. No, I don't think I can name anyone in that sense. I think there's might be like some indirect people that might think that I've influenced them, but I don't think they've actually been direct with me about it.
Oh, right. Okay. Now, this is interesting. You think you've probably influenced them, but because they haven't actually given you any feedback and said, thanks for being a great influence, you're sort of like, I'm not sure.
Not sure.
Nice. That's an interesting concept. So what have you done that gives you the impression that you might have influenced them? Like what is it? What's the leadership skill set? What's a leadership skill set that, you know, helps other people?
I think it's you sort of got to let them do their thing, so they can rise. You're there to sort of mentor them in that sense, and obviously you got your policies and processes, what they have to do in their job. But I think in the day they've got to be very independent and make it work.
Independence, you reckon?
Yeah,
And autonomy as well? Like give people the autonomy?
autonomy, absolutely. And they've always got myself and other leaders in that sense to bounce off ideas as well.
So get good leaders around you is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
So Greg, in saying that, what size organisation have you got, mate? You got 10, 20, 50 people?
We've got about 27 at the moment.
27 staff. See, that's a reasonable sized business. That's 27 humans that could all potentially have a challenge on any given day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you ever, you've talked about being a counsellor. Have you ever had to counsel your staff to get them through a tough day as well as your clients?
I think at times you might have to like a few minute like a mini counseling session like for a few minutes to sort of like to make sure their head's in the game. But not like an hour session or anything like that.
No, I get that. Just more it's really more leadership coaching rather than counselor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. And how do you know, Greg? How do you look at another human? So one of these 27 people's staff turn up in your business and one of them's off. What's the telltale sign? Or is there one?
Then they're off for the day. They're off sick.
Oh, no. They're off emotionally, let's say.
A lot of our support workers though don't have that face-to-face influence with us. They're more the face-to-face with the client. So basically, if they're off, then the client's going to tell us.
So you'll find out through the client. The client know that their carer is not the best version of themselves today.
Correct.
Right. Okay. And then you have to probably go and have a conversation. Just say, hey, how you tracking? Are you okay? What do you need? What can I do? Wow. Good leadership support, Greg. Good leadership. Mate, for our listeners and our viewers, some people will be out there, they might be in the public service now, or they, might be thinking about making a break. They might go to have a wife who wants to go into business. So, Greg, what advice would you have for potential business owners who are thinking about going out into business for themselves? Would you advise them to do that, or would you think?
Oh, well, sorry, I understand what you're saying now. But if you can't fully leave your job, you've got to make sure that there's money coming through to the business that you're trying to start. So maybe I would probably recommend go part time before doing a leap of faith. Just sort of like, because obviously this is starts off, you're not going to get the amount of income at the very beginning. So probably reduce maybe a couple of days a week to start, and then people once you've got more of that confidence that you're making money, then I would highly recommend to get out, especially if you're not liking what you're doing in the work that you do.
Life's too short, I see, Greg Hart.
Yep. Actually, I actually did the opposite of what I just said. I actually just left. I left. We only had when the business started. I left the public service. We had 2 clients. I just left. I had enough. I could burn my ass very. So yeah, I went to the leap of faith and it works, but that's not going to be like that for everyone.
That's right. And I got to tell you, that was my experience too. I just quit my job. Off I went, and here we are. 20 years later, and you're 10 years later. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yep.
Just
absolutely, you can't go back.
Burn the bridges, burn the boats.
That's right.
There's no going back. Hey, so part of the bio that I read out too, and part of your business, your journey's been public speaking, Greg. Public speaking, something that scares the pants off a lot of people. It's their second greatest fear on the planet after dying. What's it take to learn public speaking skills and be an influencer from stage?
I never learned it. I just went for it. I visualized what I was going to do, and I did it. I've never had any public speaking training or anything.
What did you learn winging it and going for it and just, I just went for it? What's the message for other public speakers out there?
I think you sort of got to be yourself, be calm, visualize what you're going to say, or what you say, or be prepared, knowing your topic that you're going to talk about, and then just go for it. Try and not think that there's like 1,000 or 2,000 or 100 people out there. Just focus on what you have to do. Like, I don't even look at the way in the back. I might look at maybe the first couple rows. That's probably about it.
Right. Focus on the first few rows. I like that. That's good advice. That's good advice. Focus on the first few rows, because then you don't get that whole, it's 1,400 sets of eyes looking at me at the moment.
I remember one time, I think it was last year, I was on stage talking about disability services, and it was like 6,000 people in Melbourne, and it was like a bit of like, oh. So I just sort of was focused on the front view, and I felt okay.
I love that. Focus on the first few rows. I think that's a good strategy. I think that really resonates for me. That makes sense. I like that. I like that a lot. Greg, thank you so much, mate. I just look, that's probably half an hour, 37 minutes. Try to go between 30 and 40 minutes. So, mate, that's amazing. Again, for all our listeners and viewers out there, Greg was really patient at the start of this while we got through some tech stuff. Mate, the last question that I always ask our listeners and our podcast guests, who do you know that you think would be a great guest for me for another episode on the Find Your Influence podcast? If we send you an email, would you mind introducing us to 1 or 2 or 3 great humans, if that's okay?
Actually, I'm seeing one tomorrow. I will give you a very, very good guest. He actually was part of Eddie Becker's administration before he was vice president. And so he's very knowledgeable in the health sector. So I think he'd be a great person I can introduce.
Who was it?
His name's Craig.
Craig, that's perfect. Thank you. If you wouldn't mind, I thought you were going to say Damon Davis there for a moment.
Damon too. I'm sure Damon would be a good guest too.
He's been on.
Oh, he has been?
Yeah.
Okay. Good guy.
He's a great guy. Really, really like Damon. Amazing. And he got a great story too. The whole adoption story is amazing. So can't wait for that episode to drop as well. Greg Hart with Riverside. Thank you so much, listeners and viewers. You've been listening to Greg Hart, an amazing story, a celebrity business owner, and it's been a great chat today. So thank you, mate.
Thank you so much. It's been great to be on the show.
Thank you for listening or viewing our Find Your Influence podcast with Anton Guinea. Another great chat. Please be one of the 10% of people who follow and subscribe and like our videos so that you can get more of them and you can hear more of our amazing conversations, the conversations that I get to have and that I get to share.